Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Palestinians are returning to the devastated city of Khan Yunis after Israel withdrew troops from southern Gaza to prepare for an attack on Rafah. Residents of Khan Yunis say the city has been largely reduced to rubble and smells like death. The temporary troop withdrawal comes 6 months after Israel began its assault on Gaza following the Hamas attack on October 7th. The official death toll in Gaza has topped 33,100, but many fear the actual number is far higher. The Guardian reports tens of thousands have disappeared in Gaza over the past 6 months, with their whereabouts unknown. On Friday, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres repeated his call for a ceasefire and the release of all hostages still held in Gaza.
More than half the population, over 1 million people, are facing catastrophic hunger. Children in Gaza today are dying for lack of food and water. This is incomprehensible and entirely avoidable. Nothing can justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people.
On Friday, the head of Save the Children U.S., Yanti Surepto, addressed the UN Security Council.
350,000 children under the age of 5 are at risk of starvation as we speak. The world is staring down the barrel of a man-made famine. The hunger in the north is of a particular concern, where people have now resorted to eat animal feed or tree leaves. If we continue down this path of all parties to conflict flagrantly breaching the rule of war and international humanitarian law, zero accountability, powerful nations refusing to use the levers of influence at their disposal, then the next set of mass deaths of children in Gaza will not be from bullets and bombs. It will be from starvation and malnutrition.
More video has emerged from Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza, which was largely destroyed during Israel's 2-week siege. This is Jonathan Woodhull of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs speaking on the grounds of Al-Shifa.
We're here in what used to be Shifa Hospital in the north of Gaza and Gaza City. Hospitals should always be places of safety. Hospitals should always be protected, places of healing. And yet I'm standing around in the midst of utter devastation. Shifa has literally become a graveyard. There are bodies still in this courtyard. The buildings have been completely destroyed.
The International Court of Justice has begun a hearing today in The Hague to decide whether Germany has violated the Genocide Convention by providing military and financial aid to Israel. The case was brought by Nicaragua, which accused Germany of facilitating the commission of genocide in Gaza. Nicaraguan Ambassador Carlos José Arguello Gomez addressed the court earlier today.
In the present case, Nicaragua is also requesting the court to order that Germany to cease providing support to Israel in its campaign of destruction of the Palestinian people. But in the present case, Nicaragua is acting not only on its own behalf on the basis of the rights and obligations conferred by the peremptory norms invoked, but also on behalf of the Palestinian people that is being subjected to one of the most destructive military actions in modern history.
The ICJ hearing is being held as Al Jazeera reports a group of 600 civil servants in Germany have written to Chancellor Olaf Scholz, calling on him to immediately cease armed deliveries to Israel. In Washington, D.C., 40 Democratic members of Congress, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, have written President Biden urging him to halt new arms transfers to Israel following Israel's killing of 7 aid workers from World Central Kitchen last week. The lawmakers wrote, quote, "In light of the recent strike against aid workers and the ever-worsening humanitarian crisis, we believe it is unjustifiable to approve these weapons transfers," they wrote. Talks over a ceasefire and hostage deal are continuing in Cairo, but there are conflicting reports on how much progress has been made. Israel and Hamas both sent negotiators on Sunday, a day after CIA Director William Burns arrived in Cairo. In Israel, as many as 100,000 protesters rallied in Tel Aviv on Saturday, calling for a deal to release the hostages and for new elections. One of the most prominent Palestinian prisoners jailed has died from cancer in an Israeli prison. The novelist Walid Daka had spent the past 38 years locked up after being arrested for killing an Israeli soldier. Rights groups have been pressuring Israel to release him, saying he was in dire need of medical attention. Last month, Amnesty International called for his release, saying that since October 7th, he'd been tortured, humiliated, and denied family visits. Protests over Israel's assault on Gaza continue across the globe. In California, 20 students at Pomona College were arrested Friday after occupying the office of the school's president. The students were protesting the removal of a mock apartheid wall that had been built on campus. The students were also calling for Pomona College to divest from companies aiding Israel's occupation.